Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I am so excited to be here today. For those of you that are celebrating, happy Thanksgiving. I posted a message that I got from one of the people that are in the marketing binge, and it's just really filled my heart with such gratitude and just such love that I get to be able to do what I love to do, and I get to be able to help transform people's lives, because this is literally what I was put here to do. So when I get messages like I did from one of my clients, it really just makes my heart super full. And so I'm super grateful for that today. I'm super grateful that I get to work with such amazing, amazing people that are actually willing to be courageous, that are willing to step up and be leaders, and to bring their lives or to bring their dreams into reality, because it is not an easy journey. So yesterday, in case you missed it, I talked about how to unlock the power of your mind. Well, and I got into the science of why we need to be able to do certain things that actually changes those behavior patterns, right? Because by the time that we're 35 or older, we're actually living out subconscious pre-programmed behavior. And what does that mean? That means that it doesn't matter how much we want it. It doesn't matter how much of a desire we have. We're losing our free will to the programming, right? And I don't want that to be you. So, like I said, when you're choosing your dreams, when you're choosing to build your vision, it can be a difficult road, because you've got lots of years of programming that you need to actually be able to unlearn, so that you can actually refire and rewire in new ways. So that's what I talked about with unlocking your mind. But today I want to talk to you about unlocking your heart. Because scientifically, what's happening when we get caught up in these behavior patterns, right? We're stuck up here. We're stuck in this programming. And when that happens, we're literally thinking the same thoughts. We're feeling the same emotions. We're taking the same actions. We're creating the same results, right? And let's say that our whole life, we're just living at this plateau of emotions. So when you're trying to change something, when you get your nervous system, now here's what's going to happen, is because we really need to reprogram your nervous system. So not just up here, but actually in your body as well. And the best way and the fastest way and the most effective way to do that is by your heart. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to unlock the power of your heart, because for far too long we have been running and living a society that's running off of this, when we really should be running off of this. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be using our brains, but we should be using our brains in a different way, right? Instead of the brains driving the bus, we need to have the heart driving the bus, and the brain should be backing it up. Right? But too many people are living in ego. Too many people are living in survival mode, right? Because we've built a society that's up here. So in order to change, we need to do something different, right? When we look at things in a different way, the things we look at change. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dustin Wheeler, and I help coaches unlock the power of their minds, release those negative behavior patterns, so that they can actually create the coaching business of their dreams with confidence. So like I said, over the next few minutes, if you stick with me, I'm going to show you the biggest practice that literally changed my life, because it was not that long ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, that I was a completely different person. And what I mean by that is I was working a corporate job that was sucking my soul. I was miserable. I was drinking. I was smoking cigarettes. I was doing everything I could to get that instant gratification, because I was miserable, right? I wanted to alleviate the feeling that I wasn't living my life at full potential, that I wasn't living my purpose. I didn't like that feeling. And so I did everything I could to try and make that feeling go away, if only for an instant. And what we all know, when we're choosing instant gratification over and over again, what does that lead to? That leads to long-term pain. And that's exactly what happened when I woke up in my life. When I woke up in my life, I was a freaking hot mess. I didn't know what to do. I had made terrible, terrible decisions over and over and over again, despite how bad I wanted to change, despite how big of a desire I had to transform my life. It seemed like every time I tried, I just kept going back to the same patterns. Let me know, is that you? Do you have some patterns in your life that you just can't seem to break out of? Put it in the comments. Let me know. Say, yeah, me too. Let me know I'm not the only one, right? Don't leave me hanging. All right. So now the reason why I'm bringing this up today is because I had to look at my life in a little bit of a different way, because for, 15, 20 years, I had been trying to change my life with mindset, right? It was like I would get this motivation. I would try and change my mindset. I was like, and then something would happen, and then I would lose my motivation. And then again, I would slip back to those old patterns. I never really changed the beliefs. And I promise you, you will follow who you believe yourself to be, right? You will always go back to the identity that you believe that you are. Now, how do we break that, right? Because if I tried for 15, 20 years to change my mindset and nothing really worked, and to change those negative, and this is what was missing. I was missing reprogramming my body. I was missing reprogramming my heart. So just by intuitive instinct, now I didn't even know that this was a real thing when I started doing it. But what I decided that I was going to do, because I didn't know which way to go, is I was going to make the decision that went in the opposite direction, right? If I had made this decision before, I was going to make this decision now that was completely opposite, because I didn't know where I was going, but at least I knew that it would get me and it would get me a different result, right? It would get me a different direction. And that's all I needed to literally break out of those negative patterns, those belief patterns that we just get stuck in. Right? It's like if you're in Michigan, you know what it's like to drive in snow, right? And how many times the road, when cars keep going over the snow and you get these big ruts, and then you're stuck in these ruts, and no matter, you're trying to go right, you're trying to go left, and you can't get out of them, right? You're stuck in them. Well, that's what happens in our brain, right? And so it's not about putting more effort into it. It's about actually going to a different place first. Because if 95%, if you're 35 or older, and 95% of what you do, what you say, how you feel, how you act, all of that stuff, right? Those patterns, if that is all pre-programmed subconscious behavior, that means that you have been mentally practicing it so well that it has become a program, right? Your body has actually become the mind, because your body now knows how to do it better than your brain does. Your brain doesn't even need to think about it. Your body gets up in the morning, and if you're used to stress, if you're used to going right for the coffee, if you're used to thinking about all your money problems and relationship problems and all of those past problems, then man, your body knows exactly what chemicals to start releasing that's going to reinforce those thoughts, right? It's like, it's 8:00. We better start releasing some of those stress hormones because we're looking for them. And then we get addicted to these hormones. And so it's not just about our mindset, because if we're not changing what's happening in our bodies, if we're not changing that, if we're not changing what's happening in our nervous system, then it's never actually leaving our brains, right? That's why people, when they're like, oh, I am affirmations, I am whatever the affirmations are that they're saying over and over and over again. Well, I promise you that if you're not reprogramming your body, those thoughts are never actually even making it past the brainstem. That's why they don't work on their own. So this is the key. This is the part that you've been missing. And like I said, I accidentally started doing this because I had a friend who passed away about, 25 years ago now. And I always called him my light. He was my heart. He was my sunshine. And he started coming back up in my life. And I really started just to look at him and see how he lived his life. And he lived his life with such love, such such gratitude, just loved everybody. And so instinctually, when I started thinking about him, I started putting my hand over my heart. And so every morning when I got up, I remembered, I learned this little fact, and it said, if you want to reprogram your mind, right, with the best time to do it is in the first 20 to 30 minutes of waking up, because that is when you are most tapped into your subconscious. So what I did is, first thing in the morning, every day, I made a commitment that I was going to do this for 10 minutes a day. I'd set an alarm, right? It didn't matter if my brain was going crazy. It didn't matter how much I wanted to get up. It didn't matter if my body told me I had to pee or I had to go let the cat out or whatever it was. I didn't listen. I said, I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes every morning and I'm going to put my hand over my heart. And that's all I did. Now, I had pretty debilitating anxiety, so much so that I would just be walking into the kitchen and I would just literally go into a panic attack because everything felt so big and I felt so little and I felt like I had control over absolutely nothing, right? And I could barely move. At that point, taking 10 steps into the living room towards the couch was a big success, right? Because I didn't let it stop me. I got out of it. So this practice not only helped me and saw me through some major depression, but it also I attribute it to the number one reason why I don't have anxiety anymore. Right? Because I became familiar with a different voice. And that's actually what meditation means. It means to become familiar with. So we are way too familiar with this voice up here, or the voices, I should say, because everybody has multiple personalities up here. We're fragmented. Right? These are broken, shattered pieces of our ego, of our experiences, of our circumstances, of our mixed meanings, of the wrong lessons that we've carried. Like, that's what's going on up here, but this is our true voice. So we need to become familiar with this voice. Now, as I talked about yesterday, this is actually, there is scientific fact behind what's happening in your body right now. So if you're putting your hand over your heart, the most amazing thing happens is, guess what? You get out of your head just like that. Right? And now that you're putting attention on your heart, you have all this new blood, your blood vessels start opening up. You have all this new blood rushing in, all this because you're putting your attention there, all this new energy, right? It's ecstasy. It's what I call a heart on, right? It's amazing. And if you just sit in it, you can feel all the good stuff that's starting to happen in your body. Your body's starting to release the serotonin and oxytocin and dopamine, right? All those good, those are our stress reliever, chemicals. So I'm going to say hormones, but those are our stress reliever chemicals, right? And so those are starting to get released in your body. And now, guess what? You start to quiet this voice. And once you start putting your attention here, right? When your focus changes, when your attention changes, your energy is going to change. Now, that's the first step that I did. Didn't have to do anything more at that. I didn't have to be good at it. I didn't have to try and fight my mind over it. My mind could go nuts, but guess what? My hand was over my heart. And pretty soon what started happening is it was like this voice kind of started burning itself out. When it realized that no matter what, I was sitting here for 10 minutes with my hand over my heart. And as soon as those chemicals started to release in my body, guess what? This voice started to get quiet. And this voice started to get louder. Right? And this is your true self. This is your true voice. And then when that happened, naturally something else started to happen, because I'm telling you, with reprogramming your body, we have to rise above the normal emotions that we're feeling on a daily basis. So again, if we're talking about those same thoughts, those same emotions, those same actions, right? We have to be able to rise above those emotions. And how do we do that? We do that with gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational frequency emotions that there is. Now, when I tell you that I didn't know that this was a real science, I just did this intuitively because I was so aware of what was going on in my body. I knew that this was exactly what my body needed, right? I trusted. Now, when I found out that this was an actual science called heart math, I actually got to get connected up to a little rhythm or a little thing that I put on my finger, and it was going to measure the beats of my heart. And it was going to measure, and it would tell you where you're in this specific range where now you've put your body in this special rhythm, right? There's a specific range that you'll get to the more you practice this. And the more that we can stay in that range, right? The more we are in a place in a higher state of flow, a higher state of health, a higher state of wellness, a higher state of consciousness, all of that stuff, because now we're in this specific range. Well, I wanted to see because I'd never tried it. I could feel when I was there in my body, but I never had anything that could prove it to be true. I just knew it. And so once I got hooked up to this machine, it was amazing. Those emotions that don't make us feel good, right? Those emotions that cause disease, those emotions that cause illness when we stay in them too long, right? Our bodies and our brains and our hearts weren't intended to live in the stress that we are living in today, right? We're spending more than 70% of our time living in that fight or flight mode, living in high stress. And our bodies were not intended to take that. That's why they're breaking down. That's why there's so much dis-ease. That's why there's so much illness going on right now. And so the best thing that you can do is start this practice, because not only is it going to help you boost your immune system, it's going to help you reduce that anxiety. It's going to help you get through that depression. It's going to help you just be able to manage your emotions better. It's going to help you bring more love into your life. It's going to help you bring more gratitude in your life. It's going to help you feel happier. It's going to help you feel more connected. It's going to help you feel like you belong. Why? Because you're becoming familiar with right here. And in a society that's run on technology now, everything is instant gratification. All this tech is literally doing our thinking for us, right? We're losing our imagination. We're losing our ability to dream, right? Because now everything is just, oh, I can go ask Google. I can go look at this. I can do this. We spend hours and hours in front of a TV, right? We're watching everybody else's imagination instead of actually living our lives as the creators that we are. So when I tell you the first step was to do this heart practice, the second step was to cultivate some sort of gratitude. Because the gratitude is going to change your heartbeat. The gratitude is going to change your chemistry. The gratitude is going to even release more of those chemicals that make you feel good, right? And when you're in a better state, when you're done with this 10 minutes, your body is going to be in a better state. Guess what? You're going to make better choices. With better choices come better emotion. With better emotion come better action. With better action come better results. With better results come better beliefs. And now, if you do that enough, you have changed your identity. Right? You're no longer the person that suffers from anxiety. You're no longer the person that has depression, right? It's not like you've got these suitcases that you carry around, but we do it all the time. People carry their illnesses like badges, right? They carry these, I have this and I have that. Because why? It's reinforcing a story. It's reinforcing an identity within us. But how'd you like to put those suitcases down? Right? How'd you like to get back in touch with this voice? How would you like to become familiar with your own trust, with your own intuition, right? One of the biggest things right now is people don't know who to trust, right? They're watching the media, they're watching the news, they're looking at social media. One person says this, one person says this. I guarantee in health, with health right now, like you can go and find 10 articles that argue that, this is good for you. And then you can go and find 10 articles that say, no, why it's bad for you. So it can be really hard to know who to trust. So why not build that intuition and trust within yourself? So this was the practice that changed everything for me. This was the practice that opened up all of the opportunity in my life to be who I am right now, to be able to be living the dream that I am right now, to be able to be living the ability to impact everybody else right now, the ability to actually make income off of my expertise, off of my experience, right? Give me the ability to turn all of the traumatic things that I went through into triumphs, right? Into lessons that I can help other people with. Right? Get out of that victim mindset. Get out of that, looking for the good in the bad situation. And now moving into the awakening and the awareness that everything that happens in our life is happening in our favor. that's when we step into being the creator in our lives, right? And owning it. Because I promise you are creating in your life, whether you think you are or not. Everything that's happened to you, whether you think it's good or whether you think it's bad, like you are creating. You have the potential. You have all of those possibilities inside of yourself. But the problem is when we're living up here, we're choosing the worst case scenario because our brain is telling us, oh, we need to be prepared, right? That bad experience happened. We got to be prepared if it happens again. That's what living in our head does, right? Those are the stories from our brain. That's the stress that we're living in when we're living in these stories. But when we change our focus, when we change our attention, when we change our intention, we begin to realize that even those circumstances that may not be great, right? Those are still happening in our favor. And when you begin to trust, right, more opportunity and more possibility begin to open up in your life. So the first was sitting with this heart practice, 10 minutes every day. First thing that you do when you get up in the morning. That's crucial, right? The second thing is cultivating gratitude. What are you grateful for? You could write a list of 1,000 things every single day that you have to be grateful for. I promise you. The little things, right? When I first started my gratitude list, man, I was happy for a toothbrush. Like during COVID, man, I was happy for toilet paper, right? Think about how many thousands of things, how many comforts and conveniences and things that we're blessed with that we just take for granted every day. Well, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you begin to look around you and see only gratitude, right? Only blessings, only abundance, guess what starts to happen? Where you put your attention, that is going to grow, right? Whatever you put your attention on, actually, because everything is made up of energy, you're actually changing the energetic structure of what you're putting your attention on. And it grows. How amazing is that, right? We live in this world where we are the most magnificent creators alive. And so many people they're not even aware of it. So that's why I want to help you awaken this voice in you. I want to help you awaken your calling, awaken your purpose, because I promise it's waiting. And it's not the only thing that's waiting. People are waiting for you to step into it. Because now more than ever, people need help. Right? Our mental health is struggling. Our emotional health is struggling. People are just now starting to have not even understand, but starting to feel the effects of being isolated for so long. And loneliness is one of the most dangerous things that causes disease in this world, right? Because we were designed to grow together. We were designed to connect. We were designed to come together. And so being alone and feeling loneliness and causing that separation, that actually leads to our breakdown. And one of my favorite quotes by Brené Brown is, untapped, unused creativity is not benign. So if you continue walking down somebody else's path, if you continue ignoring the fact that you are the creator in your life and you just keep going through the motions, I promise you that will manifest as some sort of dis-ease in your life. Whether it's this constant nagging or feeling like you're just not getting it right, like you're missing something, right? That you know you were put here for something bigger, right? You know that nagging feeling that I'm talking about when you're walking down the wrong path, right? That feeling only gets bigger. That feeling only gets stronger. And then you're going to have two choices, right? You can either grow from pain or you can grow from gratitude. So why wait until you're sick? Why wait until you hit rock bottom? Why wait until something devastating forces you to change? Why not choose to change now? So the third thing So all of this can happen in 10 or 15 minutes, you guys. Stop looking at the mountain like you have to take it down in all one step. I promise you, you are going to notice a difference in your body within 1 or 2 times of doing this. I've done this enough with people that sometimes, man, just one time they feel completely different. So even if you feel like you've tried everything, even if you feel like you've tried all the meditations and all this stuff and nothing's worked, I want you to try this. Because this is not just some spiritual woo-woo something. This is science, right? This is using science, and this is using your body mechanics and what is actually happening in your heart, in your body, in your brain to help you create that lasting change that you want. Because this is how you do it. And the third thing, you guys, is vision. And I promise you, if you're not living your life by a future that you are designing, you are living in a predictable past, meaning that your past is actually defining your future, or most likely you are living somebody else's dream. You are living your life as a reaction to somebody else's beliefs, somebody else's choices, somebody else's hard work. So why not start putting the effort into your own, into living your dream, right? What have you got to lose? Because if you never try, the only true failure is never trying. That is the only way to guarantee that you will never, ever get your dreams is to not try. So why not try and actually make it a possibility? Because what's really amazing, and when you start to do this practice, and when you start to implement this in your life, what you're starting to really say to the universe, to God, to whoever your source is, right? You start to say, I am worth it. I put myself first, right? Before you pick up that cell phone, and I love this, my coach said this. She's like, ain't nothing waiting for you on your phone except everybody else's problems. And what do we do when we first get up, right? We go right to our phones, right? Everybody else's problems. So why not do this practice first? Because this practice is going to start telling yourself it's going to start growing self-love. It's going to start growing commitment. It's going to start growing courage. It's going to start growing all of these amazing things in your life because now you are putting yourself first before anybody else, right? Before going and facing your day, before making any decisions before going to your job, before listening to your boss, before listening to your husband, before listening to your wife, before dealing with your kids, right? You are saying, I am important enough to give myself this time first, right? Because of doing this, you get to maximize on your choices. You get to maximize on your gratitude. You get to maximize on your trust. You get to maximize on your love, right? Because you're filling your cup first. And unfortunately, what most people are trying to do is they're trying to fill everybody else's cup first, and their cup is empty. Because they don't have any kind of connection to here, right? They're trying to fill their cup from here, and it doesn't work that way. So, the practice that changed my life, you guys, first, putting your hand over your heart for 10 minutes every morning within the first 20 minutes of getting up before you do anything else, go to your voice, right? Go to yourself first, right? Connect with that higher power. Connect with the source that's inside of you, right? If you really want to change the world, you change the world by changing the world within you. And then second, practicing gratitude. What are 3 things that you can be grateful for? And not just thinking about them, how does that make you feel, right? Feel that gratitude in your heart. I promise you it changes everything. And then number 3, what is your vision? What is it that you want? What is your dream, right? Start seeing that in your head. Yesterday we talked about the power, a couple days ago we talked about the power of visualization and how that can change everything, right? So visualize your vision. What does that look like? What is that going to make you feel? Feel it in your body, because that's what's been missing, right? That's how you reprogram your nervous system. That's how you reprogram those negative belief systems. That's how you reprogram your anxiety, right? This is going to be, if you suffer from depression, believe me, I understand that, right? This practice can be your best friend through difficult situations, right? Through difficult conversations, making difficult choices. If you're going through a difficult experience, I promise this can only make it better. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay. Don't forget to leave a comment. Give me some hearts. Give me some emojis. You guys know I love the hearts, I love the diamonds, and I love the fire, right? Those are my 3 favorite emojis. Don't forget, if something resonates with you, write it down. Put it in the comments. Let somebody else know. If you had a little insight, right? Put it in the comments. Because the thing is that with just insight without action is useless. So that's one way that you can give back to other people. If something resonated with you, put it in the comments. Drop a comment. But if you guys are really ready to start the process of change, right? If you're really ready to transform those negative beliefs, those patterns that you just can't seem to get out of, what I want you to do is I want you to click the link in the comments, and that's going to take you to my content vault. And because of the holidays, you guys, I'm going to run a buy one, get one. So if there are two of the mini courses or ebooks that you really like, you're going to get 2 of them for the price of 1. So that's literally, you're going to get 2 mini courses, you guys, for the less than $17. Like, how amazing is that? But I want you to start, if you're just starting out, I want you to start with Awaken Your Calling. And then whichever other one you want, we'll go ahead and connect, and I'll make sure that you get that one too. But I hope that this practice really begins to open up your value, really begins to open up your vision, because you have to understand the science behind what's going on in your body to be able to reprogram the habit of your old self. Because right now, without just trying to change your mindset, right, with just trying to change the way that you're thinking, it's not working. Right? You're trying to take 5% consciousness and change 95% of the program. And most people will live their lives without free will because the program is now running their lives. But if you do this practice, I promise you, I promise you, this will help reprogram your body and help you be able to reinvent your identity by reinventing some new patterns, right? So why not use your body in the best way possible and connect to your heart first? I hope that everybody, if you're celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're not, I hope you have an amazing day. And as promised, I will be here one last day tomorrow to give you some tips, tricks, and tools that you can use that are going to help you unlock the power of your mind, unlock the power of your heart, and actually begin to manifest the destiny that you desire. I love you guys.